My name is Eddie Cook. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17. I graduated from boot camp on my 18th birthday. I got my orders for Vietnam. 45 days later, I'm in the Quai Son Valley. I was walking point, and it was a super hot day. I dropped like I was shot. In fact, everybody thought I was shot. I had my first malaria attack. I didn't even know I even had it, but it dropped me like a rock. The next morning, when I finally come out of that malaria attack, I'm standing there and I'm dizzy, I'm weak, and the gunny sergeant walks up. He said, "Cook, get back on point. Your shift is not up yet." I didn't know how I was going to get out there and walk point again. But the guy beside me said, "Gunny, Cook's sick. I'll walk point because I'm up next." And I no sooner got back there to the back and I heard an AK-47 ring out, one shot. I knew what happened right then. So I ran up to the front of the column, and right there on the ground with my buddy, his eyes open, his mouth open, they shot him through the heart. He didn't take 2 steps when they shot him. And if I hadn't had that malaria attack the day before, that'd been me on the ground. And that still haunts me to this day. Fast forward 20 years later, June 17th, 1989, I went out and bought a Corvette, because that's what I do. And we took it out for a drive that Saturday afternoon. We're going down the road, and steering snapped. Anyway, ended up in a ditch with the car on top of us. It broke my back, and the doctors told me, says, you're never going to walk again. You're going to be in pain all your life, and you're going to be hooked up to a bag. And so I'm in a room by myself, and I was trying to eat breakfast with my one good arm. I'm paralyzed from the chest down. I can't do nothing. And I started asking, why are you doing this to me, And I said, I went through hell in Vietnam, and I went through hell in the hospital. And I wasn't expecting no answer, but all of a sudden, like a hush come over the room, and I could feel the presence. I didn't know what it was. But then that voice came out to me and said, "You remember that day on the battlefield and I let you live?" Oh man, that just scared me, rattled my cage bad. I guess my biggest hang-ups was putting my trust in the Lord. I'm a self-made person. I do everything on my own. And, I'm just not used to falling back on anybody. And, I always thought that good deeds would get you in heaven and being a good person would get you there. But like I say, that's just all fake news. Since I've been coming, I don't have that somebody like pushing me on my shoulder. And basically, I just put my trust in the Lord. For once in my life, I'm coming to church because I want to, not because I was a little kid and I'm forced to or anything like that. I'm coming because this is something I want to do. I want to be baptized because, like I say, if I do things, I go in full steam ahead. That's just the way I think it needs to be done. If there's one thing I could say to anybody who's wanting to maybe try to come back to church, is come here just one time. It will definitely blow you away. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. My name is Eddie, and this is my journey.
Oh man, that was awesome. The production team and I were talking this morning, like, man, that might be our favorite video yet, because that is Eddie. That is his story. That is who he is. And I got to meet Eddie one-on-one in his shop, I guess a few months ago, and just sit down and listen to the things that he was wrestling with. And the thing that stuck out to me was, he's like, "Ben, I'm a good soldier. You just got to tell me what are my next orders? What do I do next?" And this idea that Jesus was personal and wanted a personal relationship with him was one that he really wrestled with. And so I gave him a little book that we hand out to folks sometimes. It's called How Good Is Good Enough. And he read that. He came in Sunday morning and he said, "Ben, you had me figured out. You knew the whole time I didn't know what I was talking about. I was fake news," is what he said. But what he was missing and what he now has is that Jesus wants a personal relationship with him. He wants his trust in him. And so that has happened, but today is Declaration Day. Today we get to celebrate that publicly with the church, with family, and with friends. And so, Eddie, it is my pleasure to baptize you today. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.